Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel today. And guess what? I have a very, very special
You don't need to
guest.
guess. I'm ready here.
No, you need to know.
Nobody needs to.
The
I'm
one and
clearly
only.
on this thing right now.
No. I need to introduce him. The one and only
Alright.
Abraham Ologojojo. I said the wife. The husband.
This is that become back. Should we swap room?
No.
I'll gladly do that.
No, we can't swap, bro. I love you as my husband. Anyways, so today we have a special guest in the house, a very, very learned fellow. In fact, I'm going to drop a link to his bio in the description because if you want to read his bio, it's going to take this entire episode.
Blushing though.
Aww. Please blush. It's your time.
Of course.
So today we are going to be talking about the little foxes that actually destroys marriages. Some of those things we carry into marriages.
Let's use what is relatable. Little rats.
Oh, little, alright. Or little cockroaches, you
I
know.
don't like those roaches.
You don't like them. You don't like roaches.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have our points written and...
I think I interrupted you. We need to talk about it.
Okay, yes. So the title is Let's Fix the Rats or the Foxes or the Cockroaches that pry into relationships. And these things actually, I was listening to Pastor Mildred yesterday and she was telling me that when you get married, she was preaching the message, that the day you are getting married, I think I first heard it from Dr. Miles Morrow, late Dr. Miles Morrow, that nothing changes at the altar of wedding. The same you that was there when you said those vows is the same you that is entering the marriage. So don't think that once you get married to the person, something magical is going to change. No, whoever you are at the point of your marriage is what you carry in. So we are going to be talking about those little foxes that we tend to carry into a marriage that actually destroy it. So, our speaker, special guest of honor.
Number one point.
No. Now you go start.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay, there are quite a number of things here. I think I'll prefer you take the first one.
Okay,
one.
what was the first one again?
First one says, pay attention to your looks and personal hygiene.
Yes, so... Yes. See, actually, when I was a single, there's some very nice, sexy clothing coats that I had. I'd be like, I wish I was married so that I can wear this clothes for my husband to see. And the funniest part of it is that I actually have some of those clothes in this house right now. But the truth is that I have not been doing what I said. Like, there are many times, I wear wigs a lot. There are many times I don't get to redo my hair as I'm supposed to do them. Or, most of the time I just dress anyhow at home. I'm very, it's something I have to tell myself that, no, June, you have to work on this.
I never mentioned this, but interesting, you picked it up yourself. I don't think I've said anything about that.
Yes, you never said anything about that. I actually did a self-evaluation and realized that I needed to work on that. And you see, this is what happens in relationship. You don't have to wait for your partner to point everything out to you. My husband did not come and say, babe, I don't like the way you dress in the house. So on my own, I just figured that no, I'm not trying. I need to, so...
What sparked that? Why did you think about it?
Well, I think at the point I just said that, what have I not been doing well?
Okay.
And then I realized that one of the things I've not been doing well is that I just dress anyhow at home. It's only when we are going out that I'm very conscious of how I look at home. I just do anyhow. And it should not be so. That is because as a single, which we all do actually, as a single, we don't care about how we look. We just do anything at home. But I think it's important that even if you're at home, look nice. You don't have to wear makeup or something, but look nice. If your hair is not made, wear your wig, have a fresh breath, As a single, I used to practice brushing morning and night, but now that I'm married, I don't understand. I've not been very faithful to that. And I'm going to resume that. In fact, that's a major thing because you want to wake up in the morning with a fresh breath, Whether you like it or not, the humanity in us, it plays out well.
It's true now.
So, but the idea is just be conscious of how you look.
Yeah. And speaking about how you look, I think it also applies to, in fact, it applies to guys too. So I think I don't know if guys do that a lot, but I'm just picking from there that you should try to look smart, well groomed in the house. Don't allow your beards to be overgrown. Those kind of things can actually mean a lot to a lady. That kind of thing. And I think a caveat here, even though she's saying that she didn't dress the way she wanted to, personally, yeah, she looks very nice when she's in makeup and all those painting, but she really looks beautiful even in the most basic way in the house. But she doesn't believe it. Each time I tell her, of course, there are times when her hair is not the way she wants it to look, but I don't really see them like, oh, my baby's not looking fine. Even in the most basic, basic, the raw person that's in the morning, she still looks great.
Oh, no, I'm blushing right now. My cheeks are red.
It's not red. Yeah. So, we've spent a lot on this topic at this point already, but let's see how this goes. So, the second point is to prioritize your partner's need. This can actually be a full book.
Actually.
Because it's I don't think we might be able to even exhaust the point or even go, but I think the major thing is that you should understand that once you're married, even Apostle Paul talked about how married people are encumbered with the needs and the desires of their partners. And even if you want to serve God, rather you're a single person because you can have your devotional time to the service of the Lord. When you're married, your affection is slightly divided. Of course, God is priority and remains number one. But now you have to think about your partner's needs. For a guy, financial needs, emotional needs, security in terms of assurance, from your wife, verbally and even with body languages, their love language. Are you constantly investing in your partner's, emotional bank and even psychological bank? So many banks. But the idea is that you are now, before I got married, long before I got married, I had this mission statement I crafted in 2014 when I read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And there was this hierarchy of what roles I'm supposed to be playing in the world. And my first role there was my Christianity, my devotion to God takes number 1. And the second thing I wrote in my mission statement is that my partner, my wife, which I didn't even have yet, takes priority over career, business, whatever it is. And to me, I see my partner as a ministry. I see my marriage as a service and devotion to God. So that was my own personal conviction. So bringing it to you, listening to us, is that you have to realize that your partner needs to take priority. We can't go deeply into other nuances of needs here and there, but even if you feel like it's unrealistic, the idea is that you paying attention to what the person is saying. Are you having those conversations? Are you demonstrating commitment to ensure that your partner is well catered for? Sometimes some things, you might have disagreements on things, but even in those disagreements, I think what's important, you're demonstrating commitment to that person and that conversation is going on. So yeah, that's the second point.
Wow.
What do you have to
Professor, actually, it's a very, very important point. Because if couples will actually prioritize their partner's needs, everything is going to work out very well. The problem with most marriages is that it's either they're like, oh, you have to attend to my own needs first before I can attend to yours. But if I'm looking out for my husband's need and my husband is looking out for my needs, there's going to be balance. So the problem is that there's no equilibrium because one person is on this spectrum, the other person is on that spectrum.
Ideally, I remember I read a book, I can't remember the title, but the way it's supposed to be in a Christian home is that the man is given to serving his wife and the woman is given serving his husband. Like once it's in an ideal system where people both parties understand that, you will never be one bothering yourself by she or he, because each of you are giving to one another and it just balances out the equation.
Yeah, marriage is really about giving. So if one person is about giving and the other is about giving, it becomes balanced because it will go this way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me read out the third point for you.
Thank you.
So the third point is, don't feed nor enjoy another person's company more than your spouse.
Let me adjust. Please, I think there was Diatokolos. I'm sorry if I did not pronounce this name well for those of us that actually know this couple. I remember they came to campus when I was in school, when I was still in university, maybe 2012 or so. That's about 13, 14, or 12 years ago, thereabout. So they came and he talked about something. He said, when you find out that you're excited about another person more than your spouse, that is a warning sign. Because there's something my husband usually say, which is true, that the reason why deception is that you will not even know it is happening to you. Because if you are aware, then you are not deceived. It's not deception. But the bad thing about deception is that you are not even seeing yourself. You are not aware. So why do we have books? Those books draw our attention to the things we need to be aware of. Why do we go to conferences, listen to, podcasts and all? It helps us to gain the required knowledge and understanding. Tell us that, see the symptom and manifesting, and it could actually lead to this. So if you find out that you're excited about going to school to go and pick your children, not because of your children, but because of their teacher, or you're excited about going to the gym, more than returning back home because of your gym trainer, the person that trains you at the gym. Do you understand? So you need to know this. You're excited to even go to church because of one particular person that you often see, and the day they don't come to church, you don't feel as happy. That's a sign that an emotional affair is ongoing. So if it's that you're in a relationship and you're experiencing that, you need to deal with that. You need to cut the boundaries. You need to tell yourself that no, you need to work on this. You need to go back to finding what sparked that love and affection between you and your partner, so that nobody should take that place again. I think there was a very prominent person, I don't want to mention his name. Of course, he shared his experience in a maybe singles conference or something, and he talked about how there was this lady he took out. Like, they just went out together. He's a married person. I think he's a pastor, like a minister. He took her out and all. And then, he asked her to order whatever she wanted. When she finished ordering, he was like, I've never spent this amount of money on my own wife. That's so when he went back home, he ensured to take his own wife out and ensure that he spent maybe times 2 of that amount that particular lady. So you don't do that. There is something me and my husband agreed on, because we have a family constitution. We talk about what we want and what we don't want. One of the things we said is that neither of us will go out on a date with the opposite sex exclusively. That is just the two of you. And an opposite, Kilode, what are you doing? So it's either the two of us are involved or it's a group of persons. There should be no reason why you are seeing one person back to back. No. So you need to put systems in place to keep yourself from being vulnerable to the wrong things, because trust me, the devil is wicked. And there are times that, things might not run smoothly between you and your partner. So if you form some sort of alliance or connection with somebody, you might have a tendency to want to run into the arms of that person when things are not working well between you and your partner. So don't even create that room at all. Let your partner be the only person you go to.
There should be no backup.
No backup plan, no plan B.
Yes.
Don't have a plan B. I'm even, you know what even amazes me? When people say, like, as you are like this now, you should not have a female best friend. I don't understand.
If you're arguing, can have a male best friend, something is wrong, because when you're married to someone, that's the most intimate person in your life. That person should and will be your best friend.
Yes.
So if you're still finding an option of, is it right for me not to have you don't really understand what the institution of marriage is. You are joining your life with someone for a lifetime. You become you're going to get very intimate with that person. You're still looking for a best friend. Like, what are you doing? I really enjoy it. But I want to just add that even sometimes might not even start with an individual or a person. It could just be that probably you're no longer enjoying your partner's company. You rather just go through Instagram or watch a movie. You just engage in other activities, and you don't feel like you're missing him or her. Do you get? So it might start from things like that. When you realize that you're not even missing your absence does not
mean anything.
You don't even notice if you're not. That is the beginning or something, a symptom that something you have started deviating in terms of your affection to your partner. So watch it. Might never give you details as to break this down, but just watch it. Have a conversation. Have internal reflection, understand, try to figure out why that is, and be transparent and vulnerable enough to have that conversation with your partner and work things out. You always have to work things out.
Absolutely. You'll always have to, because you guys are not perfect, you know. So there will always be things to work out.
Okay, whose point was that?
I think that was the point.
Okay, so this fourth one, number 4 says, don't play a game of who compromises first. There are so many applications to this. So, for example, I don't even know where to start from. But the idea is that whatever you think you should do in your part, in your relationship, or whatever you think is right, just do it. Don't be looking for who does it first. Sometimes you might feel like you are only the one maybe compromising or bending. It does happen all the time. I think you can have a serious conversation with your partner. But the idea with this point is that don't wait if you know what is right and needs to be done,
just do it.
Just do it. If you need to apologize first. If you need to say certain words, like Rev always say, or Rev will say, don't leave the right words unsaid. So if you need to say something, say it. Don't be waiting for the other, because I want to paint an extreme picture, but many times we realize that those things we don't want to do. When something, since there are people who lose their partner, I realize that, why was I even that's why I just said, I don't want to paint an extreme picture, but really, you just realize that if they really mean that much to you and you're leaving, just do it. There are times when I'm pissed off, or I don't know, I just look at this woman, I'm like, it's my baby. I just do those things. I might feel hurt sometimes. I feel like, oh, why is she not responding? But truly, in the depth of my heart, I always still remember that I truly care about this person. And I just do those things. Maybe I come to meet her, oh God, she might still be doing strong though. But I just make sure that if I know I should do the right thing, I know that she also I want examples of when she has done that also. So the major point here is don't be waiting for who's the first to apologize, who's the first to do it. No, whatever you know, and is as unto the Lord. Your marriage is whatever I do is as unto the Lord. And so this is not a sin of lying. James, in the book of James, the Bible says that whosoever knows what is right and does not do it, so him it is sin. So it's as unto the Lord. You made a vow in front of the church, depending on how you're married, but as a Christian, your marriage was you were joined in the presence of God, we believe. So you made those vows unto God. So it means that, God is watching out for things you said you would do. And if you don't do it, you're already committing, you're disobeying, and that's a sin. So sometimes we don't really look at those areas of our marriage like we're committing sin. We think down to fornication, commit adultery, and all those things. These little, I call them little foxes. Rats, roaches. Can really, really cause issues in your marriage in the long run if you don't pay attention to them.
Absolutely. This one actually reminded me of the couples retreat we went.
Last weekend.
Last weekend. The major message I picked from it was that forget what your spouse is doing. Do everything as unto the Lord. Remember that, okay, there's something I learned my husband had to make like an emphasis. Is it that you don't have any other word? I used to tell him that I was sent to steward him. Any small thing, I say, I'm sent to steward him. I'm an helper in your life to steward you, to steward. You be like, you don't have any other word.
It's serious, yo. I feel like a project.
You're my project.
No, I'm not a project.
You're my project.
I'm not project.
You're my project.
See,
I say you're my project.
19 minutes, 37 seconds. You've never got to
Oh my God.
We have to bring this into series.
Actually. So, wow. Okay, well, this might point. So the point is that maybe we should extend this to 30 minutes.
All right, let's see.
Okay, so the point is that just do it as unto the Lord, because that person is in your life, you are a steward that will give account of how you treated your partner. So if you're keeping malice, you will give account that, you kept malice. If you are saying bitter things or thinking bitter thoughts about your partner, of course there are times that we get offended with our partners, and certain thoughts cross our minds and all, but when it's sustained and it's back to back and you are in it and you don't even realize that what you're doing is wrong, that's part of stewarding, and you give account for it, or you starve your partner. They are just, and you see some of these habits we actually starts out from the time we are singles.
Exactly.
With the people we relate to, like our sisters, our flatmates, our colleagues. So when you see these things showing up, even in the normal relationships you have, they will eventually show up in your marriage if you don't deal with them. So every person that comes your way is a person you were sent to steward. There is a reason why you have that boss. There's a reason why you have that neighbor. There's a reason why you're in that workplace. So you are meant to steward that relationship. And then, much more important, your own life partner.
Yeah. The way you do one thing most likely is the way you do many other things. There are many times that I feel, not many times, that's like exaggeration. There are times when we have things to deal with, and it has really gotten to me. And I just remind myself that sometimes it's never really about you. There are things your partner is dealing with. There are things that they have gotten accustomed to over time. And it's not that they are particularly trying to do it to you. It's just the way they've known how to do certain things. Yeah, there are times when we feel hurt and disappointed. But when you remember this thing, just be able to extend grace to your partner and just know that, okay, yes. So the point is that, okay, don't play the game of compromise, right? But we're saying that even when you realize all those things happening, you're seeing those things, always remember that your partner is coming from somewhere also. Maybe I just leave that point to that. But let's just point out that from what you said, that many times it's not really about you. So that it's those things that they are not used to maybe responding certainly. So it just makes me able to just relax a bit and just realize that this person truly loves you and it's not really trying to get at you primarily.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
This actually connects to the next point that says, don't say your partner does anything more except eat something good. Don't use that statement for things such as sex, untidiness, lateness.
So for the sex one, that's for married people. Singles, sex before marriage is not allowed.
Endorsed by Abraham. This is supposed to be whose point? Yeah. So don't when you're having a conversation, don't try not to throw things at one person that you are very untidy. You are the person that used to scatter everywhere the most. Those kind of a thing, you are the one that always used to do falala. Sorry, falala for our non-Nigerian. Drew is so slimy.
No, stop! Ouch! What was that? No!
It's just drip.
Stop!
All right, I'm stopping it.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Actually, can be very nasty. Okay, so back to what we are talking about. So don't put it on. Maybe you're like, when one person cook, your food is always salty, or your food is always oily, or why is your food don't throw people in that light. It's possible that yes, certain pattern has been consistent with a person in that relationship, but don't always be the one throwing it throwing it on their face that you're like this, you're like no. The best way to actually help a person change is to first of all encourage them. Like I always say, there is actually a law for, giving feedback. You don't just give feedback by telling people what they are doing that is not right. No, you will not get through to them. I tell people, are you telling people what they are doing wrong so that they will change? Or you just want to tell them for telling sake? If your goal is to talk to people so that they will change, you have to do it in a way that they will be willing to listen to you. So being critical and coming hard or always throwing things at people's faces will not make them want to change. Most likely they will want to actually resist you, even if they know that what you're saying is right. The best way is to appreciate what they've done well and find a way to nicely pass it across without nagging. Sometimes we tell you over and over, you did this. The next 1 hour, they'll still tell you again. And that time, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah.
If I may add, excuse me. So sometimes you might not even realize you're doing that, right? So one of the key things that really helps relationship is communication, which is involves listening to your partner. Sometimes it can actually be well-meaning intention to point out something to your partner, but like she said, if it's even you just switch roles. If someone keeps jabbing at you at a particular thing over and over again, it can get really uncomfortable no matter how good the intentions are. So the point here is that you might not even know that is what is happening, or you might not have even thought about the impact of what you're doing in your partner. But once you begin to get feedback, it's always good for you to just take a step back and say, okay, even though I won't assume that everybody does this for the wrong reasons. Even though I have right intentions, maybe it's not the right strategy, and just replan yourself. Because people respond to, if you learn about how people respond to danger or challenges in life, There are people is that a fight? Some people fly away, some people remain indifferent.
Like me, the man is to fly away.
So, yeah. So, and sometimes people actually respond to these things depending on the scenario. So, some people might fly in a particular scenario and fight in another scenario. So, what if your partner your approach is when someone is not doing something, you come again, so you're the fighter. That might be your own coping mechanism or something that triggers you. So, the point I'm trying to
Sorry,
make.
I have something for his ears.
so what I'm trying to say in essence is that basically one is you might not be intentionally doing those things, but when you get feedback, take a step back and re-strategize. So you might keep your motive at the center, but try to ensure that what you're doing is building your home and not dividing, destroying your home.
Very important. Very important. Very important.
Should I read the next?
Yeah.
Well, this is not a plenty. But I'm actually enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
So don't make your partner the villain and yourself the superhero. It takes two to have a conflict. This is something that I'm trying to remember that I'm looking. It was in 2018. I met a woman called Pastor Fola. She runs an NGO called Brighter Girls Foundation. So she was having a conversation with her friend. I went to her office. I was going to consult for her on communication and design. So she was having a conversation with someone, and they were talking about conflict management. And I said the first thing, the most effective way to resolve a conflict is to first of all acknowledge your role, no matter how little it might be. Because our rep will always say, sorry, we keep talking about rep. Our rep Niyeboda will always say that it takes two wings to fly, right? So, no matter how innocent you think you are in that conflict, you have a role to play. So, the point we're trying to make from here is that don't always play the victim, or your partner is mundane, you're the one that is good, you are the innocent person, you need help, you need someone to save you. No. No matter how good you think, or maybe you don't think you have a role to play, you have a role to play. So that's the best way. So if you are coming at your partner, it's always better to acknowledge your own role before pointing any finger, if you even need to point at all, because that's the best way to have a conversation, because it takes two wings to fly. So in conflict resolution, always find out. And if you've not found it, maybe you should just take it a step back and reflect. You will find, might be the way you responded back. You might not have been a guilty effort, maybe your reaction, your response, the things you did, the things you did not do. So there are just a range of things that you can think about, in this regard.
Yeah, and on that point, the truth is that what happens is that how we think filters what we how we respond to things, or what we even say about things. So having that perspective that no matter what happened, you had a role to play, can actually help us not to fall victim of this, turning the other person to the villain and making yourself the innocent person. When you have a perspective that you also had a role to play in whatever conflict or disagreement or challenge or whatever you guys faced, it actually goes a long way to help. Yeah. But if you already feel that, I'm very good in this, I'm more perfect in this area than this person, there's going to be a problem. What it means is that you already have a filter over your thinking or the way you're going to respond to a matter. So always remember that you also had a role to play, even if it's 1% in the conflict. So acknowledge it and don't just put everything on the other person.
Yeah, it's always a role to play. You always have a blind spot, and the beautiful thing is that your partner is supposed to help you see your blind spot. It takes humility to listen, and also the vice versa is also that your partner is there to, you're also there to help your partner see their blind spots. I want to roll this quickly. The other one says, don't be demanding what you can. Don't be demanding when you can see your partner is dealing with personal issues. A person can only give what they have.
Okay, well, so I think this point was actually inspired by something that was happening between the both of us. Yeah.
I'm still busy just do content. YouTubers, when I come to
if I don't use you to do content,
I reserve my
I have to use you, my brother.
I reserve my thoughts for later.
I have to use you.
We'll be happy. You mean I've seen somebody typing? She's already turning. Instead of listening to your partner or giving attention to that, she's writing content idea.
This is how I think. When something happens to me, I think of an alternate reality. So sometimes when me and babe when certain things happen, I also think of, okay, what if it happens like this? What if another person's married? How does this kind of scenario also play out? So those things give me content. So most of the things I talk about are not necessarily what is happening with me. Sometimes as a result of my own thinking or based on what I see online or experiences of people I've heard or books I've read.
I don't believe.
But you see, for this particular point, it had to do with the both of us.
Right.
So there was a time, my husband needed me to be, like the way he needed me to be there for him, I wasn't there for him as I ought to be, because personally, I was also not alright. So it was dragging. And so when we got to have a conversation, what we actually talked about, what we found out was that I was not even alright myself. So there was no way I could have given him the attention he wanted from me at that time. So the point is that sometimes you need your partner to do certain things for you, but they are not even in the right space to do that. Sometimes maybe you want your partner to be more supportive. Now, that's not what happened to us, But like I said, I usually do alternate reality of things that happen. So it's possible that maybe you want your partner to be more supportive with your business, with your job or something. But maybe your partner is actually struggling at that point with something that has to do with even their own work or business or something. It might be difficult for them to come true for you at certain times. Or even if they come true, they may not be able to give their best effort because even they themselves are not at their best at that time or at that season. So it's important that you understand when your partner is going through something that is personal. I think it was Apostle Joshua Selman, that was talking about the fact that, thank you, babe.
Sorry.
I think we should be getting water for subsequent because I feel like I've talked for a long time. Yeah,
actually a lot of points. That's why.
Actually, this we still have like 2 more points.
I think we should make this a series. Maybe we should divide it into 2 parts or something because people can digest it.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, so it was saying something that sometimes you can have some personal dealings that even your partner may not understand. So there are times that you might want your partner to be there for you in certain ways that they may not be able to be. That they may not, what's the English now? Your partner may not be there for you in the way you want them to be because of certain things they are going through personally. So that understanding can really help you. So there are times that maybe your best friend, you want them to do certain things for you, but they are not forthcoming as you want them to be. Just give them grace that, okay, especially when you know that this person has been there for you before.
Yeah.
Just understand that, okay, this time is a time of grace.
So that same time, this happened last week, right? I remember that night I was not really happy about certain things, so I think I was lying down. So eventually I was like, can I have 5 minutes of her time? I think she was sleeping, or you wanted to say, I can't remember. And I said, I wanted to hear of you, a point of view. I don't really had that sense that this not like babe, right? And it's been a struggle, so I really wanted to just hear her speak and learn what's going on with her. And when she finished talking, I could really see the point that she was trying to make. And later that night, when I was journaling, something came into my spirit, and it's that in marriage, even outside marriage, because in marriage, your partner is supposed to be giving to you your needs and the other way around. Doesn't mean you should give room for you to idolize your needs, because your needs can become an idol. And so that was something that I picked from there, was that sometimes it might be a genuine something that you genuinely should have or get, but that is part of the sacrifice of marriage. Sometimes you would not get it. And so you don't have to idolize your needs. You must know when to submit your needs for your partner. You must know when to give your way for the other person. You must know when to sacrifice. Marriage is about sacrifice. So even though you hear, or don't go to marriage, I think, my needs. Well, I will list this for my, no. In fact, many times when you have that mindset, God will humble you that it might not come, so that you might learn to submit your needs to God and not think that your partner is the all and all. No partner can feel you 100%. So that is something that that I wrote down in my own content.
Okay.
All right. So
We actually have 2 more points to ball. Is it 2 or 3?
just 2, almost done.
Okay, maybe we should just finish it then.
Okay. So the next one says having an alibi for bad behavior. So we're saying don't have an alibi for bad behavior. Don't claim something. Okay, let me read this way. Claiming something someone or your partner did makes you do what you did. Learn to take responsibility for your action. The point is this: when something goes on with you and your partner, don't say you made me do this. It's because you talk that way and I talk back. No, what happens?
It's because you shouted. Now let me try slap you.
You're actually absorbing yourself of personal responsibility. Stephen Covey will always talk about how everyone is responsible for their actions. Even if the other person, let me put an extreme scenario. Even if a terrorist meets someone and does something bad to the person, and that person responds in a bad way, that person that was the victim is still responsible for the action, no matter how bad or extreme. Whenever you put the blame on someone else, you have, how do I put it? Whenever you put the blame on someone, you have actually sold off your responsibility for yourself. You're basically saying that person is responsible for your own actions. And I don't know, that's more like slavery. Anyway.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
This is supposed to be your
It
point.
means you don't have control.
Okay.
It means you don't have control by yourself. That's what you're actually trying to
say. You're just a loose cannon. Someone can just fire you anyhow.
Yeah,
so
you can behave
anyhow. Someone can just come and press your button and you actually, that is not the way to live. You have to be responsible. And one of the key part of responsibility is that no matter how the scenario or situation might go, always take responsibility. Always acknowledge what you did was your own choice. Steve Covey will say that when someone says, "Oh, I have to do this," I do not have a choice. He said, like, everyone has a choice.
You have a choice. You have a choice.
You have a choice. So in a marriage relationship, don't use your partner as an excuse for your action. If you maybe raise your voice in the conversation, that one I know I was guilty of that. If you raise your voice in a conversation because of something your partner is doing, own it. They also might be faulty, but you raised your voice. Yeah. They didn't come and increase your voice.
Voice, go up.
So you will have to take responsibility for. In fact, that is the best for people to grow in their marriages. Yes. When every individual owns up to their own role, growth is it just makes growth very, because it means that everybody's working on themselves, and if everybody's working on themselves, that marriage has a future.
Yeah.
But when nobody is ready to take responsibility,
playing the blame game. No, you did. No. Are you not the one that? No, you put the pot under this thing. No, you are the one that did not close the door. And so me too, I left the.
As simple as this might sound, I can tell you it's one of the major issues in marriages. Yeah. Again, like we used to say, or like even people have said earlier, it's actually and the way you take your life as a single that springs into your marriage. Someone like me, when I learned about this from Stephen Covey in 2014, I have zero tolerance for excuse. Even if it's legit, I do not like hearing excuses. What I like to hear is, I take responsibility for this, I own it, and this is what I want to do better. That's the posture. I have a book on that called No Excuse Challenges. I listed about 30 different excuses that we give in our lives and how to debunk those excuses. But it's my own personal commitment. So even in my marriage, I don't need that to be telling me to own it. Whenever I hear something, just immediately just carry it across. Because that is the way to grow. That's the way to grow.
That's the way to grow. The reason why a lot of people have remained small, have remained, so most limitations are self-induced. And that's because people will not take responsibility. There are even some people that you will help. Like, you will give them food. Take food. They still expect you to be the one to come and carry the used spoon to come and feed them. No.
And when you feed them, they want you to enter their stomach to digest.
Right? So, sincerely, it's very important that we stop playing the blame game. Own your own part of what you did that was wrong. Stop saying that somebody made you to do what you did. No. You are the one that did it. Yes, they may have advised you or sort of influenced one or two things, but you still had the choice. Action. You took the action. So,
yeah. The last but not the least of this massive episode. And this is really the game changer. This last one just ties everything. If I ties everything up, it says, listen to understand, not respond. This is a lifelong one we all must cultivate. No one ever gets to a perfect state, but we all can get better.
Yeah.
Listen to understand, not respond.
Yeah.
Over to you, baby.
Thank you, baby. Yeah, please. It's very important. You see, I don't know about other countries, but I think it's a general thing. It doesn't have to be just Nigerians. A lot of people listen for what listen to respond. They don't listen to understand. So many times, if you are the kind of person that have been practicing listening to understand, you realize that there were a few times where you listened to respond, then you caught yourself, listened again, and then you realize that the response you had in mind was actually not the right response. for that situation. If we will learn to listen to understand, we'll have less arguments. Our communication will be easier. But because we often listen to respond, it leads to further arguments. Like, because you're never hearing what the person is saying, you already have a filter that is making you to interpret things in a certain way. Your response will be going off. You know, I used to be in the choir. You know what it means to sing off key. So the person is resonating this way, but you are resonating another way. So when a person gets to say they want to talk, don't listen because you have something in mind to reply them with.
So I already started arranging your own. Every single line, you already have your response.
Because you did not fold your clothes and this thing. Are you not the one that put the clothes under this thing? You know?
Yeah.
Why didn't you cook rice and beans today? It's not you that did not put the rice where we see it. You know? You're already, as the person is saying it, you're preparing your own. It's
response.
Like, I should. So it's like...
that's the leading cause of misunderstanding.
Yes.
In fact, many times I believe that when people file for a divorce, they're going to a point in their marriage when they're no longer listening to themselves. I might not have many cases, but I just feel like when you truly listen to people, when you truly listen, as people say, to understand, understanding doesn't always mean agreement. It means I want to really step into your shoe and feel what you're feeling to the best that I can feel it. And one of the key ways that's been proven that you listen is when you ask questions. If many times when someone is saying something and the first thing you are giving is a response and a line back without inquiring deeply, it might be a symptom or a sign you're not listening. A key way of listening or trying to dig to understand is to ask questions to clarify. Because many times we actually have assumptions. But when you're asking to clarify, not asking to prove what you're saying is wrong. Like, I'm asking the question to say, you know, someone asks a question like,
and the lockout.
They ask questions because they want to find the fault. No, ask a question to clarify. Ask me to demonstrate commitment. I always say, always ask questions or speak to demonstrate commitment. Any partner who sees that genuinely in you, even if they are carrying fire on their head, they will calm down. There's something I want to share from a book called Culture Map. It's a book that was introduced to me by my professor in my first semester during my master's, and it's about communication styles in the world. So there are two kind of communication styles. There is the high context communities and low context. Let me give you a classical example. An average Yoruba family in this part of the world, we're a high context family. So a Yoruba mother can say a word that means many things. They can look at you in a certain way, and encoded in that looking at you deep things.
Messages.
But low context communities like America, they are just, what they are saying is what it is. There is no hidden undertones. So when you really understand these two things, you might actually help you listen more in your relationship, because you always try to not just listen for what the person is saying, but listen for what they might not be saying. And that is a skill that can be developed, because in many high context society like the Asian countries, where they are very respectful, they have a lot of proverbs, they have cultures and different systems. Those communities have high context communication. When they say a word, that word embodies a lot of things, and you might have to ask questions to get to the heart of the matter. And if you're in a low context like America or some other countries that, you know, they are more liberal and they're not like maybe African countries or Asian countries, whatever they're saying, what it is. So even with that, they just give you straight to the point. You might be in a relationship where you and your partner are actually from those two different contexts, And I think we have that scenario. I speak most times with, when I speak, I have nuances, I have things that I just want her to pick off. But she wants you to just spread it out. I'm like, can't you just figure what you're saying?
No! Tell me what you want.
Well, the point from here is just go to that listening, because you
Yeah.
must even understand the differences in your marriage or any relationship. You can really help to, because sometimes I just think that the person doesn't want to just hear you. You may just feel that the way they filter communication is not the way you're giving it. So marriage might actually help both of you balance it out. So I'm sure a Yoruba person marrying an American person will have these issues, because it actually too. You can check out it's called Culture Map. I think it's by Eric. I opened this from Eric Meyer, The Culture Map, Breaking Through the Invisible Boundaries of Erin, Erin Meyer, Meyer, Breaking Through the Invisible Boundaries of Global Business. It's a book that helps you communicate with people beyond where you grew up from.
Yeah.
So if you are working in a community or in a workplace where there are diverse race of people and people from different backgrounds, it can really help you understand, for example, Donald Trump is a low context speaker. He just gives it to you.
Me and him, we are siblings.
Anyway, that's my contribution.
Sincerely, it's been a lot tonight. This is how differences play out in relationships, and that's why you need to get knowledge, because no matter how much you love yourselves, you find out that you have your differences, and if you don't know how to manage these differences, they are going to show up in very ugly ways that can become a problem in your relationship. And you see, concerning this last point, I was going to mention something, but I saw that you were still talking, so I didn't want to cut you. You see, some people are actually happy that they can win a conversation over somebody. So you're already building yourself to be a spouse that will not communicate well when you get married. Don't be proud that you have a conversation with people and at the end of the day you won. And it's a major thing with Nigerians. You finish and you sorry, you're actually training yourself for the wrong things.
Yes.
So don't be proud of yourself that you are very good at picking out because you're already training yourself to be, when you eventually get married, you do the same thing to your partner. You think you love the person and you will treat the person differently. It's a lie. Just give it time. Those attitudes, those ways you treat other people, you will eventually do it to your partner. So why not work on those things now? Why not cultivate the habit of listening to people to understand them, not listening to them to win an argument or to show that you are wiser or smarter or to show that, you are superior, whatever the paradigms people may have. So don't be happy that you are winning an argument or that you override other people, that you talk and everybody shut up. They cannot say anything. No. There are just some mentalities people have that fits the flesh, but they're actually not beneficial. They are not. So please, let's work on that. It's a Nigerian thing.
It can be right, but is it beneficial? All things are lawful, but the expedient. Reverend again will say, Papa.
Shout out
to my
Papa.
Right, or do you want to have peace in your marriage?
Do you want to be right or do you want to have peace? Because you can be right and then you lose your peace. Exactly. So sometimes you have to let go of your right. In fact, one of the things we learned at the couples retreat we went for was that some things are legit, but they can actually be sinful. It can be legit, you can be on your right, but there is at that point, for the sake of your partner, you may have to let go. And so you need to, these points we all talked about are things that actually affect people in their marriages, but they are attributes you need to start building as a single, so that when you get married, they don't pose a challenge.
Absolutely. If you don't take anything from here, is that this is a quote that I picked from someone called Deborah Finita. She runs a podcast on relationship. And she always said that healthy people make healthy relationships. It is who you are that you will give.
Exactly.
So, more than marriage, I want to be in law, I want to propose, I want to do my wedding in Marrakesh or something. It's that whoever you are is what you give to your partner. And marriage is more, before you're thinking about getting married or before you want to be with someone, invest in developing yourself, invest in becoming healthy, understand what a healthy relationship is. And not like they're used to toxicity, and so you just think those things are normal. You're not even trying to be bad. That's just what they know.
Yes.
And so you really have to be intentional about breaking into communities, places where you'll be exposed to yourself. Right? Isaiah was always warning people until when he saw God, he now told himself that I am the one that needs help. So when you are in the presence of people who have knowledge, when you listen to this My Beautiful Wife podcast, where's podcast? YouTube? Because I run a podcast.
Why you listen to my husband?
But the idea is that you need to expose yourself to information that will help you know yourself. And when you know yourself, you can now find, ways to improve, intentional about improving. Once you are on that track, you will be a better person in marriage.
And in fact, when you are healthy, you'll be able to identify an healthy person.
Exactly.
If you are toxic, because that toxicity, toxicity. Well, you know what I'm talking about. That toxicity.
Wait,
what is a boso? Sorry,
when that thing,
because it is natural to you. When you meet another toxic person, you will think it's okay. So there are some people that any small thing, idiot. In fact, I was trying to download the movie, and when I was reading the comment section, it was just full of insults. Now that kind of person, if you meet another person that is insulting them, they'll think it's normal. Why should you marry a person that you are insulting each other, calling yourself a fool? Even if you're joking, why can't you joke with other things? Why must you joke with condescending words? Idiots. Olori buruku.
Well, you can say fish. I call her fish.
Yeah, we call each other fish. It's our code name. That's the only fish. Yeah. Fish and fish roll. Look, I'm the fish at the roll. Alright.
You look more rolly.
I look more rolly. Exactly. Rolly roll.
See, chick, was this chick there in the last 1 year episode? People should come and be giving me accolades.
Accolades
Anyway, wow. Actually explain our time.
Yeah. Actually, we are recording this. This should be around 2. Yeah, this should be.
I'm missing the time.
Should be around.
It's currently 2:42.
2:42 a.m.
And I hope our neighbors are not thinking that what is happening. But it's the best time for us to record.
Yes.
So thank you very much for coming to my channel.
Thank you. Remember to subscribe to this channel. Yes, remember to subscribe to this channel. And we've shared very vital information. Don't keep this to yourself. There is somebody around you that needs to know what we've just shared. You see, if people knew better, they would do better. So help someone around you to know better so that they can make the right choice. So remember to share this video on groups, on your WhatsApp stories. Just share them to people. And very importantly, subscribe and help me achieve my goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers this year. Yes. Thank you for joining me and my love, my small.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Fish roll. Let's off the lights.